Alright, so working on a 2000 Honda Odyssey with, I believe, a 3.5 in it, and we got a p0401, hopefully that shows up, EGR Insufficient flow detected. And on these, what happens is, underneath the manifold, your EGR is right here, but underneath the manifold there's a tube, or a passage that goes up through here, and it gets clogged up. So we're gonna, you have to take the upper intake manifold off, which means your airbox has to come off, this has to come off, and normally I just take the throttle body off the manifold and set it off to the side. And then you have some various lines that have to come off to pull this off. So anyway, we'll get started on it. First thing we'll do is we'll take apart this airbox, get it out of the way, and then we'll hit that throttle body. So I'm going to get set up and then we'll pick it back up. Alright, so the airbox just has various stuff attached to it. You got the Phillips 8mm here for the actual airbox lid. And it would help if I was going the right way. Got to wear a glove on this hand because I was putting a windshield in last night and almost cut my finger off, thanks to my son. So, got to be a little bit careful with this hand today. Alright, once you get those four off, you can kind of pull it up. And then it's just a matter of going around and taking loose all the various stuff that's hooked to it. You have the Phillips and the throttle body itself. Like I said, it's just a bunch of little various hoses and stuff. So you'll see it. Just go around it, get everything loose. It needs to get loose, and then pull this off. Alright, when you're taking the airbox off, now's a good time to check your air filter. And this one's probably one of the dirtiest ones I've seen in a while. So it's a good time to inspect that. And we're going to go ahead and change this one out. We won't put this back in. So once you get all that off, you got 4 12mm bolts for your throttle body. What we're going to do is just take those off. I'm not going to take all this stuff off around it. I'm going to try to leave most of it undisturbed. So take off your 4 bolts, look like 12mm, and then pull this forward. And it's only got to come forward a little bit. It should be enough to clear this manifold and take it off. So I'm going to do that next, and then you know, you may have to take off a few things. I'll see how it goes, but that's the plan anyway. Alright, so I got the throttle body off. There is one coolant hose on the bottom you're going to have to take off. You'll see it. It'll allow the throttle body to go about right here, but it won't clear these studs till you take it off. It's just one hose down there. It comes up and goes right up into the throttle body. If you take that loose, then this will come up out of the way. Then you just got some various hoses. This one goes over to the back of the intake. Comes up off of where your air hose was. You have a connector here, and the brake booster line will have to come off, but I'll probably pull that off. Well, I'm actually pull it off from here because the clamp is underneath here. You can't really get to it. And then I believe it's just 9 or 10 of upper intake bolts right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take those loose real quick and kind of feel out if there's anything else on the manifold. sure this will pull up now. Not a whole lot on these uppers, these Hondas that I can think of. Yeah, so this will pull up. I'm gonna get, it's still pretty high, I drove it here. Get another glove, I'm gonna pull it up, and I'm going to dishead the brake booster from over there so I don't have to fight it back there, and then I'll just pull this whole thing out. I'll show you what's going on with the EGR. Alright, here's one of the common places that it clog up right here. That's the EGR passage that goes from the EGR itself all up to the manifold. A lot of times this whole thing will be clogged up. So what you do is you spray it with car cleaner and take about a 5/16 drill bit and clean it out. But this one's not clogged up right here. This goes all the way down through. So the next area will be the actual port on the lower manifold, and I'll show you that in a second. Alright, so I took the EGR off, two 12mm bolts, set it off to the side. There's your EGR passage, and that goes up and then comes up through here to the lower manifold. And on this car, I believe it's clogged right there because I tried to feed a wire through there and nothing came out. So I'm gonna feed this through, and you can see nothing's come out the bottom yet. So once this thing gets clear of the clog, there it goes. Now it's starting to come out. You can see that, I don't know if you can see it, that bottom passage is starting to fill up. So we had a pretty good clog on this. So what I do usually, I got some metal wire here, and I feed that down through the passage and just kind of work it out. And then I'll use some compressed air and blow it out, put a towel down there and just start blowing it out. So what you do is just keep working it. It's I just use a regular gum out carb and choke cleaner, parts cleaner. Works real well for getting them unclogged. So just work on it till you can get, and I also covered up the lower ports here with duct tape just to keep the crap out of the lower manifold. But what you want to do is keep running that car cleaner till this fills up with car cleaner down here, this port over here. And once that is clear, then you should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and run my line down through there and get some compressed air. Make sure it's nice and clear. Pretty good clog there. It took it a while for that gum out to get down to the bottom. So that was definitely where it was clogged at. Anyway, I'm going to work on it a little bit more, and then we'll pick it back up. Alright, so I've been working with it for about 10 minutes or so, and I got the whole passage filled with car cleaner. And you can see this is basically topped off right here. I put a rag in this hole. You don't want stuff going down into this hole. So now that it's full all the way down there, that means this whole thing's pretty much full of car cleaner or close to it. So what you do is just let it sit about 10-15 minutes, let it do its job, and then I'll run some more car cleaner through it, and then I'll run the air hose through it, clean it all out real good, make sure we got good flow, because you don't want to miss anything and have to tear this down again, a couple days later, a couple weeks later, or whatever. So that's basically what the plan is. Just use the carb clean, keep filling it up on this, from the top. And it took it a while. It took it a long time for fluid to even get down here at first. Had some pretty good clogs in it, and finally it started flowing enough with enough car cleaner and air over time to where it fills up pretty fast now. So I'm going to let it sit another 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to fill it back up. I'm going to blow it out with air and then fill it back up with car cleaner, make sure it comes out real fast, and then go from there and putting it back together. Alright, so I've worked on this about 30-40 minutes, just flushing it out. I got it now where we got good airflow coming out. You put the air hose in here, it's got plenty of flow coming out this way and vice versa. Just take your time with it. It can be clogged up pretty good. This one was clogged up fairly significant. When I first started filling this top hole with car cleaner, it wasn't even coming out down here at all. It took a while. So be patient with it. Don't just throw some down there and then throw it back together, because you'll just have the same problem pop back up if it's still clogged. So make sure you run compressed air through both ends and run quite a bit of car cleaner. I probably used over a half a can, maybe three quarters of a can. Flushing this one out. You know, fill it up, let it sit a while, let it break down the carbon and all that stuff, and then take compressed air and blow it out. So this, as long as your intake gasket and throttle body gasket and everything looks okay, they're reusable, you should be fine with that. Go ahead and throw your EGR back on, and then it's basically the reverse. You'll just put the manifold back on and throttle body, and clear the code on it and take it for a ride. It should be fine. It's a pretty common code on these. Usually, like I said before, it clogs up right here, and that it's real common for it to clog up here. But if it's clogged here, don't forget about that port also. And then we got new air filter for it. You can see this one, like I said, it's pretty wasted, so we got a new air filter for it. And that's pretty much it on these codes. The insufficient EGR code on these 3.5 Hondas. Pretty much covered everything you can cover. Pretty much covered everything you can cover on them. So yeah, just take your time putting them back together and clear the code. You should be good to go on it. So he wants me to do a few other things to this, so I got to get on it. I got to end this video and get to work, I guess. So I appreciate you watching. If you'd like to, please subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, and we're going to get this back together and get this Hoopty back and get on the road, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and signing off.